Disturbing allegations against a Sandy fire captain led to his arrest.
It blew me away. I had no idea. It's crazy.
The tip that has left so many neighbors in shock tonight.
Right now, dry conditions here across Utah, but more chances for rain are on the way. I'll let you know the timing of our next storm system and if it will impact your weekend plans.
Gas prices are reaching new highs day after day.
Not only do the oil markets function better today, but also our economies are much larger.
Tonight, we look back at the worst energy crisis in U.S. history. Is history repeating itself?
And this BYU student made a decision that would save a stranger's life.
A family from Alaska made their way to Utah to say thank you to a woman who saved their daughter's life. I'm Aaron Cox, and I'll show you the tender moments of their meeting between these two families.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Tonight, we're learning more about a Sandy fire captain who was arrested and has now been fired over allegations of child pornography.
Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph joins us live from the state capitol tonight, where the Utah Attorney General's office is now handling the case. Spencer.
Good evening. We've learned tonight that the tip came from a social media site that fire captain Clinton McKee was allegedly posting on. That was then forwarded on to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who sent that to the local Internet Crimes Against Children's team, which is headed up by the Utah AG's office. And tonight, he's behind bars after being arrested last night. In a quiet South Jordan neighborhood, neighbors say that everyone felt safe with Sandy fire captain Clinton McKee living next door.
He was always a good guy, always waved to neighbors, always offered to help shovel driveways and everything when snow comes. Everyone liked him. He was a great guy.
But after an operation of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, McKee was arrested Thursday on 7 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. A probable cause statement alleges McKee admitting to using a social media company to view and distribute child pornography to other users, as well as admitting to hiding cameras in a home business space where teenage girls would undress and recording them. Fox 13 News visiting that home in South Jordan.
I've heard from neighbors that saw a bunch of cops come out front, undercovers. The whole neighborhood was filled up.
We talked with one of the neighbors of McKee. He didn't want to go on camera, but told us what he and others saw.
There was no parking, I'll tell you that. But then, I left because I didn't know what to think about it, And I heard from some other neighbors that he came out in handcuffs.
Everyone in the neighborhood was stunned at the turn of events.
It blew me away. I had no idea. It's crazy.
It always kind of gives you that good feeling knowing that you do more.
McKee spoke to Fox 13 News on multiple occasions, like this time about the fire department helping mow someone's lawn.
We all know how to mow a lawn. We all know how to take care of people.
Or a career fair about becoming a firefighter.
And it's just great for us. It's great to be able to teach these kids.
All while police say he was committing these crimes inside his family home business. So as a man sits behind bars, this neighborhood is still in disbelief.
I had no idea that he had anything to do with this. I knew nothing about it.
I did speak briefly with the Utah Attorney General's office this afternoon, who tells me that every case is unique and different. But right now, in this case specifically, they are still compiling charges against McKee, and more will be forthcoming. On the Hill, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Sir, thank you. The Sandy Fire Department did give a statement today saying in part, quote, Captain McKee was immediately placed on administrative leave pending an administrative investigation into the allegation of criminal conduct. Sandy City leadership and staff are committed to complete transparency and will cooperate fully with the Attorney General's office regarding their investigation.
If you want to file a complaint for any internet-related crime, you can do so online with the Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov. We have a link on our website, fox13now.com.
Now to an update on the Gabby Petito investigation. Gabby Petito's parents are suing Brian Laundrie's parents. Laundrie killed Petito last year while the couple was taking a trip across the country, including stops in Utah in both Moab and Ogden. The civil suit claims Laundrie told his parents that he murdered Petito the day after her death. She was strangled, her body found in Grand Teton National Park in September of last year. Laundrie died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His body was found in the Florida wilderness in October. Now, this new lawsuit also claims the Laundries were planning to help their son leave the country. Petito's parents are seeking at least $100,000 in damages. The Pentagon now says Russia is gaining momentum in its unrelenting attack on Ukraine, with shelling being reported in the capital city of Kyiv as the invasion now enters its third week.
As the world watches the war escalate by the day, President Biden has called for an end to formal or normal trade relations with Russia. It's a move that requires an act of Congress. If approved, it would downgrade Russia as a trading partner and open the door to higher tariffs on Russian goods. The president also warned there would be further retaliation if Russia uses chemical weapons.
We already know Putin's war against Ukraine will never be a victory. He hoped to dominate Ukraine without a fight. He failed.
This week, Congress passed a spending package that includes more than $13 billion in aid for Ukraine. But Republicans believe more can be done to boost Ukraine's military response. In a letter to the president, 42 GOP senators urged the U.S. to send fighter jets through a transfer with Poland. But the Biden administration says that gesture would only escalate tensions with Russia.
There will be another rally for Ukraine tomorrow happening in Salt Lake City. It's scheduled to start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the City Center track station on Main Street. The group then plans to march to the Utah State Capitol, getting there by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and then rallying until 4 p.m. Organizers say they're pushing for several things, including establishing a no-fly zone over Ukraine, also stopping crimes against humanity, which Russian troops are accused of, and banning Russian oil.
Fox 13 News is teaming up with the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation for its Driven to Assist donation drive to benefit refugees fleeing Ukraine. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now, and it will take you to a site where you can donate. Monetary donations will be matched up to $2 million and will be distributed to trusted organizations assisting those displaced by the war. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to fox13now.com.
Happy Friday, everyone. I don't know how you feel about it, but, you know, we're losing an hour of our weekend this weekend.
That's right.
I know. Springing forward early on Sunday, but we've got also some storms that are going to be springing into the state as well. But for tonight, we've got a nice northwesterly flow. We take you through tomorrow. High pressure continues to be our main story for you. So a very pleasant Saturday, a nice westerly flow. Our next system briefly drops in from the north on Sunday. A very fast storm system is on the way for our springing forward day. Now, our temperatures right now close to 35 to 40 for Provo, Salt Lake and Ogden. Logan right now 33, 53 currently in St. George compared to this time 24 hours ago. Look at this difference. It's about 10 to 15 degrees warmer right now. So we have the clear sky for much of Utah. Additional clouds here along the Wasatch Front this evening. And then tomorrow morning when you wake up, mostly clear at 6 a.m. By 7 a.m., 29 degrees. And we'll have those temperatures back into the 40s starting at 11 a.m., just about 40 degrees. So we'll have mild temperatures tomorrow afternoon. It'll be a really pleasant Saturday. Let's talk more about that storm on Sunday coming up in the forecast.
Allison, thank you. Also, a reminder, the 42nd annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in Salt Lake City. It is happening again this year. We had to take that 2-year break because of the pandemic, but tomorrow the parade is on, and Fox 13 News will be there. It starts at 11 a.m. at 200 South and Rio Grande Street. It ends at the Gateway. It's a fun parade. We sure hope to see you there.
Yes.
Could Russia's invasion of Ukraine lead to the worst energy crisis since the 1970s? We take an in-depth look at the two different situations unfolding 50 years apart.
Are you ready to have your clock spring forward this weekend? We'll explain the impact of losing an hour of sleep due to daylight saving time.
It's unfortunate and scary and sad.
Rising food prices and supply shortages have Utahns stocking up at the grocery store. What to know before you shop.
This has been like a little over a year in the making.
Just when I saw the letter, I could hardly open it.
And a student at BYU saves a little girl's life. Tonight they meet each other for the first time in a story that's positively Utah. With the U.S. banning Russian oil and gas prices across the country reaching new highs for several days in a row, some analysts say we could be in for the worst energy crisis since the 1970s.
And Bob, tonight we are taking an in-depth look at how those two crises compare.
A House committee today voted against President Carter's standby gas rationing plan.
In the 1970s, people across the country had to wait in lines around the block, all to fill their tanks.
This station sold 75,000 gallons of gasoline last month. This month, their allocation has been cut to 45,000 gallons.
The government rationed gas. Prices skyrocketed close to $1 a gallon.
It's, like I say, it's hard on my customers. And it's hard on my employees. They can only get 10 gallons of gasoline, and at a certain time of day.
It was the worst energy crisis in U.S. history. And there are parallels to today. Back then, the crisis started with a war in the Middle East that prompted an embargo during a period of high inflation.
I think if there's any buffer between now and the 1970s, it's not only do the oil markets function better today, but also our economies are much larger.
David Victor is an energy expert at UC San Diego.
So as a fraction of the pocketbook, we're spending much less on energy than we were during the peak oil price periods of the 1970s.
He says the U.S. does not rely as much on foreign imports as much as it did in the 1970s. Today, we produce nearly 12 million barrels a day domestically. Back then, we only generated about 8.5 million. And he says Russia is a relatively minor player in our oil supply. Last year, they accounted for about 3%.
Most likely, we're going to replace it very quickly with Saudi crude. There are some other suppliers, Mexico, actually Venezuela, some discussions about lowering sanctions on Venezuela, similar discussions in Libya, similar discussions in Iran, other places. There are a lot of places where we can get our oil and replace the Russian oil.
That's why he doesn't think we'll see a repeat of the gas shortages or rationing from the 70s. Although we are seeing similar price fluctuations. He does say what might trigger a 1970s redo is if European countries follow America's lead and ban Russian oil and gas. That kind of move would disrupt about 5 million barrels of oil a day, roughly the same amount that sparked the crisis in the 1970s.
So this is why the Europeans in particular are taking a very sophisticated approach to the sanctions here, and they're wary about a move that would remove a huge fraction, if not all, the Russian oil from the market because of that disruption.
Because the 70s taught us that kind of an oil shock can take a long time to recover from. And we are all seeing the gas prices today, now over $4 a gallon in Utah. If you'd like to check for the very cheapest gas in your area, Fox 13 News has you covered. Go ahead, grab your phone, scan that QR code we have up on your screen right now. That will take you directly to fox13now.com, to our page where you can find the prices right in your own neighborhood.
Tonight, a family from Alaska met for the first time with the Utah woman who saved their daughter's life.
Fox 13 News reporter Aaron Cox was there and shows us their connection in a story that is positively Utah.
It's so worth it.
It's Sean Bucher's senior year here as a nursing student at Brigham Young University.
Especially the procedure that she went through.
And though she's accomplished a lot, well, here, that's not why she's being interviewed.
I could sign up for something like this. Like, who knows if they'll ever call me.
She's talking about a decision she made as a freshman.
They're asking me to do something that I know that I can do. And, what's stopping me other than being a little bit nervous about school?
Sean had signed up to be a bone marrow donor, and nearly 4 years later, the call came and she accepted it.
I was so nervous because you hear all these scary stories about oh, it's so painful, it's so this and that, and it really, really wasn't.
Sean's recipient was 1-year-old Amelia Belmore, living in Alaska.
It's one of those things that you never think is going to happen to you, and it did.
After a bunch of different diagnoses with different doctors, that ended up being leukemia tumor on her face, and we ended up getting several rounds of different chemotherapy.
It came down to needing a bone marrow transplant. Ryan and Rebecca had only weeks to find one for Amelia.
And ultimately, she ended up having a bone marrow transplant that saved her life.
The day after Amelia's second birthday in 2021,
This has been like a little over a year in the making.
she received Sean's bone marrow.
We got a letter from her donor, and I mean, I started crying. Like, just when I saw the letter, I could hardly open it. And I've been wishing since that point that we would be able to have a relationship with her donor, and in particular, Amelia.
Friday.
Hi.
Both Sean and the Belmores met for the first time.
Hi, Amelia.
A decision Sean made nearly 4 years ago
Yes.
led to a life-saving moment.
I need you guys too. Hi, you're so welcome.
Oh my goodness. So this is a swab kit. Yes, you are.
A decision
Okay, so we're gonna do.
Q-tip out.
Ryan decided to pay forward
Almost like you're brushing your teeth back by your molar.
and become a donor too.
There's a lot of people that aren't as lucky as us that cannot find matches. And so please, if you have time, which again, it doesn't take very much time, sign up for the registry.
Ryan and Rebecca say that Amelia's cancer is in remission and that her recovery has been going well. They plan on returning to Alaska tomorrow. In Provo, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It was Be the Match, the national program that matches bone marrow donors with patients, that connected the two families. Be the Match flew the Belmores out for this special meeting as a way to finish off their week registering students at BYU. About 2,200 students had registered as of tonight. They created a special registration in Amelia's name. If you'd like to register, we have a link to Be the Match on our website, fox13now.com.
So easy, and you can save somebody's life.
You've registered too.
I
haven't
have.
you?
Yeah, very easy to do.
Kelly registered. I'm definitely going to look into that. What a great story. Thanks so much to Aaron for that. I'm definitely intrigued and looking forward to doing that. Beautiful night here across the state. Friday Night Lights picture coming in from Allen Day in our Facebook group, Utah's Weather Authority. What a gorgeous state we live in. I tell you what, I don't think I could pick anywhere else I'd rather live than here in Utah. 40 degrees right now. We have such a nice Saturday ahead. Here are your top headlines. We do have a sunny start to the weekend. We're going to have cooler temperatures on Sunday. We're going to see chances for rain and snow as we wrap up the weekend. And don't forget, we are springing forward this weekend as well. So we'll have some changes to our sunrise and sunset times as we head into next week. But today's temperature is 44 degrees was our high. That's 10 below normal. Tomorrow morning, the sunrise will be at 6:45 and it will set at 7:30. And then we're springing forward. So that's going to be an hour later as we head into next week. We look at satellite and radar here across the state. Had some additional clouds across northern Utah, but overall what we're tracking for you will be a mild start tomorrow morning. We'll have some clouds early, that'll clear late, 28 degrees when you wake up tomorrow morning. And we look at 6 o'clock, pausing those temps right around 25 to 30 degrees for Provo, Eagle Mountain, lower 20s down there in Utah County, and then closer to 30 for Tooele, Salt Lake, and Ogden first thing tomorrow morning. And then for St. George, temperatures tomorrow morning right around freezing. So tomorrow here in Salt Lake, we'll have close to average temperatures. We'll be a few degrees below average, but it's one of the closest days that we'll have this week for normal temperatures. We'll have temperatures at 10 a.m., 40 degrees tomorrow, by noon 45. So if you are going to that St. Patrick's Day parade downtown tomorrow, we'll have those temperatures in the upper 30s when you first get there, and then you'll have comfortable temperatures during the afternoon hours for any activities that you have planned. So 4 o'clock tomorrow, close to 45 to 50 for Provo, Eagle Mountain, Tooele, Salt Lake, and Ogden. So it'll be a really nice start to the weekend. If you want to do something outdoors with your friends, go for an afternoon walk, go for an afternoon hike, ski tomorrow, Bluebird Day. And then we head into Sunday, we're going to see some additional clouds moving in. Our chance for precipitation is going to go up. So Sunday during the day, and then as we look at Sunday night, that's when we're going to see some chances for some precipitation here in Salt Lake, but it's more likely during the afternoon on Sunday. It'll be widespread chances for precipitation here in Salt Lake. Then we look at Tuesday day, Tuesday night, and Wednesday day next week. That's going to be our next shot for some more unsettled weather. So Few days between storms with nice weather, then we'll have another storm moving through, and then our temperatures for St. George will be on the rise by next Tuesday, 72 degrees, but this weekend in the mid to upper 60s, and for Salt Lake close to 50 tomorrow, 5 degrees cooler on Sunday with a chance for some rain, 49 on Monday, warmer by Tuesday with some chances for precipitation to move back in. We'll talk more about that storm pattern coming up later in the hour.
See you then, Allison. Thank you. Opposition in Utah to a directive happening in Texas. Why the Salt Lake County District Attorney thinks what happens in Texas could erode public trust. Welcome back, everyone. A Texas judge has blocked a state directive to investigate parents for child abuse if they seek gender-affirming care for their minor children. The ruling comes after a memo issued earlier today from nearly 100 criminal justice leaders from all across the country, including Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill. The bipartisan group asked Texas to stop the investigations. Gill wrote, quote, "We cannot allow our justice system to be weaponized to further erode the public trust. The prosecution of parents seeking care for their kids is beyond the pale and would do nothing but divide communities. Parents and children should not fear state action for a simple doctor's visit."
Today, the State Board of Education in Utah discussed plans for gender identity guidance in the classroom. Last month, they planned to review data gathered through a survey sent out to all counties. They wanted public opinion on a document designed for teachers as they navigate gender identity and transgender discussions. But the board was surprised by how many responses it got. At today's meeting, they discussed how to analyze and present the data and comments, as well as the document's legality.
We did not include the legal section in that, for review. It was just the document itself. So, yeah, that is going to be a question. Yes, that will be addressed later.
The board has settled on a few things, how they plan to interpret and present the data, as well as seeing whether the work can be done internally or by current staff. They hope to have this sorted out in time for next month's meeting.
We do get concerned, and we all have felt it in our pockets because prices are going up everywhere.
War in Ukraine means gas prices on the rise. Will food be next? What you need to know before stocking up.
We have a happy update for you tonight from a story we brought you 2 weeks ago as local family members were trying to help their loved ones escape Ukraine. See the happy ending tonight.
Getting ready to spring forward means you'll be losing an hour of sleep. But how much does that actually impact you? You may be surprised.
I certainly hate to bring it up because you're very well aware, I'm sure, but today's average gas price in Utah is now $4.35 per gallon. That's according to AAA. But that's not the only thing that's being impacted right now by inflation.
Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us the prices of other essentials are also on the rise.
The war in Ukraine has consumers concerned about paying more at the store, and local grocers are doing their best to keep shelves stocked and prices down.
It's unfortunate and scary and sad.
From eggs to apples to bread, Whitney Sinclair says she's already feeling the war's impact on her wallet.
I go grocery shopping every 3 weeks, and I have noticed a huge change in how much my receipt is.
Grocery stores like Neighbors Market in North Salt Lake have been dealing with inflation long before the war began.
The toughest thing is trying to stay on top. We can't tag the shelves fast enough. The supermarkets are really running.
But Dennis Lawrence says the biggest thing he's facing right now is a supply shortage due to people frantically stocking up.
There is absolutely no reason whatsoever, okay, to buy more than you normally consume.
Even with the National Product Sales Store's huge warehouse, there's only so much manager Igor Garcia can do to keep up.
We do get concerned, and we all have felt it in our pockets because prices are going up everywhere.
But Garcia says with crazy high gas prices, NPS is going to do its best to keep the cost of its food products low.
Our freight prices have gone up. We have adjusted the salaries to our employees. So the owners are very aware of this, but they are very committed to maintaining the low prices for our customers.
Eating profits so Utahns can continue putting food on the table. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
New COVID-19 cases in Utah have been going down for roughly 7 weeks now. 244 Utahns tested positive in the past day. There are also fewer COVID patients in the hospital. 21 more Utahns, however, died. The health department says 9 of those deaths are prior to 1 month ago.
66.2% of Utahns ages 5 and older are fully vaccinated now. A third of Utahns ages 12 and older also have a booster shot. Tonight, 2 hikers are safe after being stranded in deep snow in the mountains above Pleasant Grove. Sergeant Spencer Cannon with Utah County Sheriff's Department says the women, ages 18 and 21, set out today not dressed for the snow or the cold. 2 trail runners helped the women to an area where the Utah County Sheriff's Office search and rescue team could take them down. Sergeant Cannon says these women were on the mountain in these conditions for more than 10 hours.
That's tough, especially if you weren't dressed appropriately.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Active tourist visas and several $1,000s from the community all helped a Ukrainian family flee the country and make it safely to Utah.
Fox 13 News interviewed their son and daughter-in-law 2 weeks ago as they were desperately trying to help them escape.
Fox 13 News reporter Eliana Sheriff shows us their special reunion.
You made it.
Here's the moment Igor's mom, dad, and brother are reunited with Marley and Igor.
From the time that they started their journey to come here, it was Wednesday to Wednesday. It was a full 7 days of them either sitting in a car, waiting to cross the border in Ukraine, trying to get at least some rest in their family's home in Moldova.
Sleeping in airports along the way, flying out of Romania to Vienna, then Frankfurt, then Denver, and finally Utah.
I'm excited. People here are very welcome me.
The family says once the bombing started, they knew they had to drop everything and leave. 15-year-old Yura recalls the last few days in his home country.
Typical day, just hey, do my homework, fall asleep, go sleep, and wake up in the morning and war started. So it's really confused and sad.
But leaving proved challenging and probably wouldn't have been possible if they didn't have travel visas from coming to Marley and Igor's wedding a few years ago.
И когда мы приехали, конечно, мы были уставшими, но мы счастливы, что мы в безопасности.
When we first got here, of course, we were tired, but we're just really happy that we're safe now.
As if starting a new life in a new country wasn't enough, Yura just started 9th grade this week. His classmates have already welcomed him by decorating his locker with notes of support.
When I open it, I see the Ukrainian flag, some hearts.
But he can't stop thinking about his friends back at home.
I'm blessed to be here, but lots of my friends try to get out of the country, try to save their lives.
Several $1,000s were raised from Marley's co-workers for their escape.
It is a very happy ending. We were able to get them here. When they got here, we were all in tears, just because you don't know if they're going to be alive.
Marley says they just found a place for them to live in Saratoga Springs. They'll be able to stay here for up to a year, and they're working right now with immigration experts to get them refugee status. In Utah County, Eliana Sheriff, Fox 13 News, Utah.
While Utah hasn't launched an official effort to take in Ukrainian refugees, the state does have a thriving refugee community, notably the Afghans.
And this morning, second graders in Kaysville, they put together these school kits for Utah's refugee children. They filled 100 drawstring backpacks with crayons, markers, highlighters, and many other supplies. Teachers say the children wanted to make these kits after learning that children in other countries don't all have the same learning opportunities.
I want them to feel welcome to the United States.
These kids have big hearts. Kids are good, and they just think they need opportunities to show it, to do good things.
They certainly did a good thing this morning. Yeah. The school received $500 from the School Land Trust Fund, also donations from students to buy all of the school supplies. The kits will now be donated to Lifting Hands International.
Coming up, new reaction to the arrest of a Las Vegas man in connection with the death of Utah teens. What one of the victims' parents has to say.
The father of a Park City boy who died of a drug overdose 6 years ago now reached out to us after watching a report yesterday on Fox 13 News. Robert Ainsworth was shocked to see that Colin Shepard was arrested on federal charges of distributing fentanyl in Utah while attending UNLV in Las Vegas. Ainsworth's son, Ryan, then 13, and another Park City classmate, they died back in 2016 on fentanyl that Shepard allegedly sold to the young boys. Shepard later pleaded guilty to a count of reckless endangerment, completed his juvenile court sentence, and then went off to college.
My message is that this needs to be talked about to prevent it from happening in the future.
As a 15-year-old, prosecutors say Shepard navigated the dark web to import and distribute a then legal synthetic opioid known as Pinky. DEA agents say this is Shepard, now 21. We'll get his picture back up there, with videos sending fentanyl-laced pills to Utah from that post office in Las Vegas.
The Asian population in Utah is one of the fastest growing groups in the state. Salt Lake City's Chinatown highlights their rich culture with a variety of foods and attractions. This morning, we chatted with Salt Lake Tribune reporter Stephanie Russell about the time she spent at Salt Lake's Chinatown near 3300 South State Street and what they learned there.
There's Korean restaurants, there's Vietnamese restaurants, there's a Japanese restaurant, and actually the crowds of people you'll see there, it's extreme. It's like people from every culture in every corner of the city.
Salt Lake City's Chinatown also features the largest Asian grocery store in Utah. Be watching for the article on Utah's Chinatown in this Sunday's Salt Lake Tribune. Do you feel the impact of losing an hour of sleep? Fox 13 News goes in depth on the toll of daylight saving time next.
And later in sports, the Utes hosting the NC2A Ski Championships this week. I'll tell you where they sit as they chase a 15th national title. And the Jazz hoping to deny Greg Popovich of some history tonight. Down to the wire highlights at the Spurs in just a bit. Wide open.
Oh, everybody hates the spring forward, and it's because it's not only is it causing you to lose an hour of sleep, but it misaligns your internal clock with the external world.
If your weekends already seem to go by too quickly, this weekend daylight saving time will only make it feel even shorter. The impact of one less hour can go beyond missing a bit of sleep. We're going in depth this evening, talking with experts about the psychological and physical impacts of springing ahead.
The impact of that is pretty significant.
Almost every discipline of science has done research on daylight saving time transitions.
There's an increase in heart attacks and car accidents, an increase in depression.
From evaluating traffic accidents and hospital admissions, which all spike in the week after, to even if we're more likely to hit white-tailed deer. Spoiler alert, according to the White-tailed Deer Association, we are more likely.
When you're deprived of sleep, reaction time is slower, and it also makes people feel more depressed. It increases your appetite, regulating hormones, and so you're more hungry and things like that.
Waking up too early with less sunlight can actually hinder your ability to get to sleep later that night.
Bright light actually enhances our brain's ability to produce serotonin.
Serotonin is a neurotransmitter your waking brain needs to function properly. And serotonin is what ultimately gets converted into melatonin, and that helps put us to sleep at night.
The consequence of that is that we're losing that morning light. And so for your internal rhythm, that first morning light is very important for synchronizing our internal clock in our brain.
Doctors say one of the best ways to get ready for the change is to not sleep in this weekend, so an early Monday morning isn't such a shock.
Leaving it to the last minute makes it more difficult.
Another idea is to make sure you have some extra fun this Sunday. The more adrenaline you produce on Sunday by maybe going on a hike or playing basketball with the family will make it easier to go to sleep an hour earlier Sunday night. And lastly, don't underestimate the power of a 15-minute nap on Monday afternoon. Or anytime.
Anytime.
It doesn't have to be Monday afternoon, 15-minute nap.
Here's the thing. One of the recommendations with the time change is, well, just go to bed a little earlier. You can't fall asleep like that, right?
No.
It's like your internal body clock is not set to do that.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get used to it.
I think I heard a statistic earlier that most people it takes an average 3 days to adjust to that new change.
Ooh, it's always a rough Monday right after, though, regardless of that change. Hopefully you do a good job of sleeping this weekend. Sunday, unfortunately, Bob had some very good advice in that story to go outside, be active, get that adrenaline really going. But we are going to end up with some chances for rain on Sunday. So something to keep in mind when you're planning your weekend. Mostly clear first thing tomorrow morning by 10 a.m. We are back close to 40 degrees here in Salt Lake City. We do have clear sky across the state tonight, so heading out Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, all looking really good. A very nice Friday night, 40 degrees here in Salt Lake. Feeling like 34, so bundle up if you are going to be walking around outside this evening. We do have wind out of the southeast, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But first thing tomorrow morning, it'll be about 20 to 25 degrees for Provo, Eagle Mountain, and Price. Closer to 30 for Salt Lake, Ogden, and for Tooele first thing tomorrow morning. So our upper level weather, what we're going to see is high pressure dominates the next few days. Then we have a series of just weak fast storms that move through, one on Sunday, and then we'll have a bit of a break again. And then by Tuesday into Wednesday, we'll have another brief cool down, a few more chances for some showers. And then we potentially even have some more additional showers as we head into Sunday of next weekend. So Salt Lake City tomorrow, high of 50, Ogden 48, for Provo tomorrow, 48 degrees. For central and southern Utah, Cedar City 52, Ridgefield 49, St. George mid-60s tomorrow. And for eastern Utah, Moab 54 degrees, Price 47, and for Vernal 44 tomorrow in the Uinta Basin with sunshine. For the Salt Lake Valley, Saturday and Sunday, moderate air quality with voluntary action in the forecast. And let's show you this future cast because we'll keep things dry tomorrow. By late Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, we'll see some chances for some rain and snow to return into northern Utah. By Monday morning when you wake up, we still have a few lingering snow showers in the mountains, but most of this is off to our east. I mean, talk about Monday morning tough after springing forward, and then they're going to have a tough commute in Colorado on Monday. That's tough for them, but here across Utah, our next system is going to move in late Tuesday into Wednesday. And our temperatures are going to be warmest on Tuesday ahead of that cool down on Wednesday. Saturday, 65 in St. George, 67 for Sunday, and Monday, low 70s for Tuesday. For the Wasatch Front, 50 tomorrow, Sunday, 44. Mostly cloudy sky. We're going to see that chance for some valley rain and mountain snow. By Sunday night, we could see a little bit of flurry activity mixing in. Monday, 49 degrees for a high, but a first half of the weekend is going to be really, really nice. And then we'll see warmer temperatures by Tuesday with additional clouds, mid-50s. We'll see a chance for some light rain late in the day on Tuesday. Could see a few flurries Tuesday night into Wednesday with a chance for some rain Wednesday morning. And then we'll be warming back up by next Friday at 54 degrees ahead of some more chances for some storms to move into the region by next weekend.
The Jazz were on the road for one tonight before a new homestand begins tomorrow. A trip to San Antonio in store. Utah 3 games back of Golden State for third in the West, but a Spurs win would make Greg Popovich the winningest coach in NBA history. Donovan Mitchell got going to end the half. Tough take and a swarm of white. 5 Spurs inside the paint. Gets it to drop anyway. This one even better. The ice cream scoop off the window. Donovan with 24 tonight. Utah using another spurt in the third. Mike Conley with the dish for Rudy coming right at ya. Go Bear. But the Spurs would rally down 15 in the fourth. DeJounte Murray all of a sudden were even at 84. where it was back and forth the rest of the way. The Ute, Jakob Poeltl, San Antonio up 3 with 31 ticks left. Rudy Gay, who spent 4 seasons in San Antonio before signing with the Jazz last summer. It's a tough 3, but they ran out of time. Utah outscored 40-28 in the fourth. The hand pop, win number 1,336 to pass Don Nelson for most all time. 2 more locals alive at their conference tournament start in Boise in the Big Sky semis. Weber State up at the half on Montana State. Dante Bassett backing in. Nobody's stopping that 250-pound caboose. The Wildcats up 8 to start half 2. Dylan Jones, a game-high 18, but the Bobcats, they hiss back. Great Osso bar and 1 for the Montana State lead. Later, more Osso bar. Baseline teardrop to snap a 64-all tie. Purple down 3 at the end. The former Aggie and Wasatch Academy product, Kobe McEwen, can't connect. Neither can Jones here. So Weber falls 69-66. So unless BYU can sneak in, the state of Utah won't have any men's teams taking part in March Madness this year. In Vegas, the UVU women look to take down the #1 Stephen F. Austin in the WAC semis. West Haven's own Josie Williams to lift the Wolverines up 5 in the second quarter. 12 and 15 boards for her, but the Lady Jacks came out of the locker room with a monster third. Zaya Nugent receives a friendly bounce, then more Nugent to beat the quarter horn. 22 for her as UVU falls by 26. The Utes have held on to the lead after day 2 of the NCAA Ski Championships in Park City. Vermont second and the University of Denver third going into the final day. This is the men's slalom at Park City Mountain Resort, where the Norwegian and the Ute Gustav Valo placed second by 2 or 3/10 of a second behind Vermont's Matthias Tefri. In the ladies slalom, Utah's Kaya Norby placed 6th. The Nordic freestyle events take place tomorrow at Soldier Hollow. Utah Gymnastics bringing their regular season to a close in SEC country Friday. Grace McCallum leading the Red Rocks against LSU. Great routines on both the bars and the beam, but the Tigers got a 10 from Haley Bryant on the vault, followed by this 9.975 floor routine courtesy of Sarah Edwards to win it. Utah enters the postseason with a mark of 10-3. Utah lacrosse in their first game since cracking the top 20 for the first time in program history. Cole Brahms scoring for Red, but they still trailed at Maryland, Baltimore County tonight. The Retrievers adding to it in the fourth. Brett Busha, followed by Kevin Dowdy, 18th ranked Utah getting upset on the road, falling to 3-2 on the year. And the Grizzlies hosting the Kansas City Mavericks at the Maverick Center. That's a big birthday cake there. Tied at 1 in the second when Benjamin Tardif scores for the Grizz, but another look at it shows it going off an opponent's skate. Take it how you can get it. 3-1 the final score. They're first place in their division.
Yeah.
The Jazz, tough loss for them. They were up by 15.
Oh.
San Antonio rallied to take them out.
Well, when's the next game again?
Kings tomorrow night back home.
Oh,
quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Home court is good, though.
We love the vid.
Welcome them back. Thanks, Morgan.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Thanks for being part of Fox 13 News at 9.
Stick around. Quickcast is up next.